The Radio Troller Entertainment Podcast Channel.
Welcome to Waxy Buildup, a podcast covering the earliest recordings from the 1880s to the mid-1920s. I'm Eric Paul Johnson, and this is a disaster. Not this episode. Although we've just started, so give it time. It might turn into a disaster. But April 14th is a day loaded with disasters, and I will play records related to those disasters or even about those disasters. First up on the disaster parade is April 14th, 1865, when President Abraham Lincoln had a bad ending to a night at the theater. When Lincoln's security guard wandered off for a drink or a nap or a little nookie with the coat check girl, I don't know, John Wilkes Booth snuck up, put a bullet in Lincoln's head, and Lincoln died the next day. While I don't have a specific record about that, I do have one where Russell Hunting recites the Gettysburg Address. This recording is terrible, it doesn't sound very good, but you all know the Gettysburg Address. It's short, and if you don't, you can look it up on the internet. But I picked this bad recording because, as far as I can tell, this is the earliest recording of somebody doing the Gettysburg Address. And it's about 33 years after Lincoln gave it. So to put that in perspective, if we're to go back 33 years, this is like if somebody recreated Clinton's inauguration address. That's how close this record was to that event. From 1896, here's Lincoln's Speech at Gettysburg by Russell Hunting.
Abraham Lincoln's greatest and world-famed address at Gettysburg, November 18, 1863. 47 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggle here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will no longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living rather to be dedicated here to the extinct one. They who fought here have passed no land. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honors we take in Jesus to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that still highly resolved, that death shall not have died in, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not prosper.
Another terrible event on April 14th is the sinking of the Titanic. On April 14th, 1912, at 11:40 p.m., the Titanic plowed into an iceberg and spent the next 2.5 hours plunging to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, killing around 1,500 people. Ernest V. Stoneman tells the story of the sinking of the Titanic on this 1926 cylinder.
It was on Monday morning, just about 1 o'clock, that the great Titanic began reeling wrong. Then the people began to cry, saying, Lord, I'm going to die. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. There were husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. It was sad when that great ship went down. When they were building the Titanic, they said what they could do. They were going to build a ship that the water could not go through. Oh, God with his mighty hand showed to the world it could not stand. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. There were husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. It was sad when that great ship went down. When they left England, they were making for the shore. The rich, they declared they would not ride with the poor. So they sent to go below, they were the first that had to go. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. There were husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. It was sad when that great ship went down. When Paul was out sailing with men all around, God in heaven on his throne said that man should not drown. If you trust him and obey, he will save you all the day. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. There were husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. It was sad when that great ship went down. The people on the ship were a long ways from home, with friends all around them, didn't know their time had come. For death came riding by, 1600 as to die. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. It was sad when that great ship went down. There were husbands and wives, little children lost their lives. It was sad when that great ship went down. When the Titanic was sinking, was equal people free. It was there they were singing, hear my God to thee. Hear my God to thee. In that great ship went down.
Another April 14th tragedy is one not a lot of people know about, but it happened. I was there, man. I saw it. And worst of all, I participated in it. Often. On April 14th, 1983, my friend started doing an underground satire newspaper called the Loon News. She did 4 issues in 1983, And then I picked it up in 1984, and I did it monthly until 1993. Ideas petered out and I stopped doing it, and then she picked it up and started doing it again in 1995. And for a while there, it was me and her back and forth as editor-in-chief. She'd pick a month, I'd pick another month, and we'd do that. And then I did it on my college newspaper as part of the humor section in the 20-teens. So for roughly 30 years, give or take a few breaks in publications, the Loon News was a thing. And the closest I could find to a song about a newspaper, other than John Philip Sousa Washington Post March or something like that, y'all know that one. This is sort of the same thing. This is Cal Stewart from 1912 with Town Topics of Pumpkin Center. It's about the newspaper from Pumpkin Center, and, in a way, how the news was delivered back then. Word of mouth by somebody who read something somewhere in a newspaper somewhere.
Well, sure, everything around the place is upside down, and I can't find the darn thing where I left it. I'm so doggone mad right now. If I bit myself, I'd have hydrophobia. Well, I've been away from home 2 weeks, and when you ain't at home, ain't a thing goes right. I've been down to New York, I have, and do you know that is the doggonest village I ever was in? Guys, they don't know when to go to bed down there. There's more folks on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning than there is here in our town on Circus Day. They got me in the habit of it, too. One night I didn't go to bed till 7:30. Well, I guess I'll look over the paper and see what they've been doing while I was away from home. If I can find the column it's printed in. Only print one column of the paper here in our town. Rest of it comes already printed. Yep, here it is. Pumpkin Center Town Topics. Well. Pumpkin Center Ball Club beat Hickory Corners 106 to 97. Gosh, all hemlock. Hank Weaver knocked the fly ball and hit the stained glass window in the Baptist church and knocked out the 4 apostles. Now they're going to move the church because it stands so close to the ball ground. It interferes with the game. While everybody wanted to whip the Empire, so they loaded the county jail up on a wagon, hauled it out the ball ground, and locked the Empire up in it and let him empire the game out the window, and putting a darn one of them get at him. Well, I want to know. Hi Atkins got some wooden nest eggs, and he put them under his old setting hen, and he hatched out 4 blockhead chickens and a woodpecker. Jim Lawson went down to county seat and got his hair cut. Barbara scared up a woodchuck and 2 flying squirrels. Well, they ought to let Jim's hair grow and set him over again. Well. Lige Willett has got locomotor ataxia. Now he's got the darn thing. I'll bet he don't know how to run it. Gee whiz. Jim Wilson got some colored Easter eggs, and he wanted to hide them from the children, so he took them out in the barn, put them under the old Plymouth Rock hen, and Rooster come along and looked at him and went over in the next yard and whipped the peacock. Don't it beat all what'll happen when you ain't to hum? I ought to got this paper down New York, but I couldn't find out what post office it was in. They got 200 post offices in New York. Don't you know when you're away from home and among strangers and you don't know anybody? Don't it cheer you up just to get a paper from your own hometown? When you're away from home and in a foreign land, you've got the blues just to beat the band. I'll tell you something right away that's proud. Just get the paper from your own hometown. It tells about the weather and it tells about the crops. All the gossip in the barber shop, and sometimes the print is upside down. Old-fashioned paper from your own hometown. Hoskins' children have the measles. Deacon Green has got the gout. Abe Crosby's got religion, and he hasn't found it out. And they've got a brand new baby at the home of Hiram Brown. Some items in the paper from your own hometown. Well, getting along about bedtime, guess I'll shut up.
Well, this doesn't happen on April 14th. It does happen on April 15th every year here in the United States, unless April 15th falls on a Sunday. Taxes. Your taxes are due. Unless you're rich, then you don't have to pay taxes. You can afford pricey tax lawyers who can find all the loopholes they can so that even though you made $3.60 trillion in the last year, you still get like $100 million tax refund, so you don't wind up paying taxes. The rest of us, though, it sucks to be poor and middle class, don't it? Here's another idea for income tax from Ambrose and his orchestra. Just a little bit outside of our date range. From 1931, this is If They Ever Had an Income Tax on Love.
It would break my heart if they ever start an income tax on love.
When you want to squeeze beneath a tree with some sweet turtle dove.
Would be just too bad if they ever had an income tax on love. Mr. Cupid would count your kisses and every little thrill. He'd inspect them, and when he checked them, he'd send you in the bill.
Take a night in June when Mr. Moon is winking up above.
He would hide his face if they ever placed an income tax on love.
Now it's time for Century Smash Hits. These are the songs that entered the pop chart 100 years ago this week. And getting to number 8, spending 1 week on the chart, Ernest Hare and Billy Jones with How Do You Do?
How do you do, everybody? How do you do? How do you do, everybody? How are you? We are here, we must confess, just to bring you happiness. Hope we'll please you more or less. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Billy Jones and Ernie Hare wish to say to you out there, how do you do? How do you do, Billy Jones? How do you do? Pretty well. How do you do, Ernie Hare? How do you do? do? Pretty good. Bill, I hope you like the song. Well, I hope it's not too long. Am I right? No, you're wrong. How do you do? 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 Well, I'm glad you're nearly done. Why, I've only just begun. How do you do? How do you do, everybody? How do you do? How do you do, everybody? How are you? When the skies are kind of gray and you're feeling just that way, ain't it great to hear folks say, how do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? So from Maine up to Alaska, here is what we want to ask you. How do you do? How do you do, old timers? How do you do? Hello, old timers. How do you do, old timers? How are you? Hi. You remember way back when girls were girls and men were men. It's so different now from then. How do you do? 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 Even grandma bobbed their hair. They also smoked and learned to swear. How do you do? How do you do, John Chinaman? How do you do? Hello, John. How do you do, John Chinaman? How are you? Hi, Johnny. Run the laundry each chumming, softly suey everything. Glad you like to hear us sing. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do, Mr. Rooster? How do you do? How do you do, Mr. Hen? How are you? Can you tell us, Mr. Hen, when will they come down again? You haven't late since Lord knows when. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Though you think you're getting by, soon you'll be a chicken pie. How do you do? Goodbye, Edison Thames. Goodbye. Goodbye, Edison Thames. Goodbye. Billy and Ernie are nearly through singing this little song to you. Now we'll say goodbye to you. How do you do? 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 Hope you like this little song. Now it's time to say so long. So goodbye, bye. Goodbye.
Spending 4 weeks on the chart, getting to number 6, Cliff Edwards and Fascinating Rhythm.
There's a little rhythm, the pitter-pat through my brain. So darn persistent, the day is distant, when it will drive me insane. Comes in the morning without any warning, and hangs around me all day. I'll have to sneak up to it, someday I'll speak up to it, I hope it listens when I say. Fascinating rhythm, you got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm, I'm all a quiver. What a mess you're making, the neighbors want to know why I'm always shaking just like a flivver. Each morning I get up with the sun, start a-hopping, never stopping, to find at night no work has been done. I know that once it didn't matter, but now you're doing wrong when you start to patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off, decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy? Oh, how I long to be the man
fascinating rhythm, you gotta stop picking on me. Fascinating rhythm, got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm, I'm all quiver. What a mess you're making, the neighbors want to know why I'm always shaking like a quiver. Each morning I get up with the sun, start a hopping, never stopping, to find a night no work has been done. I know that once it didn't matter, but now you're doing wrong when you start to patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off, decide to run along, somewhere far away off and make it snappy. Oh, how I long to be the man I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, you gotta stop picking on me.
And from the Beatles of the 20s, this is Paul Whiteman and his orchestra. I'll See You in My Dreams got to number 5 and spent 5 weeks on the chart. Waxy Buildup is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment, Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. If you've got a comment, song request, or suggestion for a show topic, leave a voicemail at 623-850-3375 or email it to eloftmpodcast ftmelo@gmail.com. You can financially support the podcast just by listening at ftmelo.podbean.com and sharing the link and getting other people to listen, or through PayPal using the address eloftmpodcast@gmail.com, or by subscribing to my comic strip at patreon.com/LNTCS.
REPC, the Radio Troller Entertainment Podcast Channel.